Hey guys, Learning Silver and Gold here. Hey, I wanted to do a update video real quick on some new goodies that I got for my stack. So as you can see here, I've got a little bit of gold and a little bit of silver, to add to my stack. So I ended up getting five of the silver buffaloes, and that's one reason is that I needed five to finish out one of my rolls of those. So I got five to finish out a roll. I've got two of the um, Asahi refining, silver rounds as well. Those are really, pretty cool looking rounds. Two of those, and then they had these SD Bullions rounds with like the cross on them. So I thought that was kind of cool and stuff. So I got two of those. So one under God. Okay. Although these days I think it's the wrong God that the nation's under, but and then I got some gold. Now sticking to what I normally like, I did get another Dos Peso. So I think I've got about 10 of these already. So I think this should be about my 11th Dos Peso, and it is a coin that I do like these, and I think it's a good fractional way of it's an economical fractional way of getting into gold and stuff for foreign currency and more collectible gold, in my opinion. And then they had this one that was it's actually a 2.5 peso. I never even heard of it. They had it today. I had to kind of I had to put some more of that black stuff in there to kind of make it fit, because it didn't quite fit the case. But so I kind of had to do some magic on it to get it to fit in there. But yeah, it's a 2.5 peso. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So I went ahead and grab that. Also, I actually got a couple of gold bars. You can see here, just tiny ones. They're 1 gram bars. So here's a Valcambi 1 gram of gold, and it's really my first one. I haven't really had any Valcambi, and if you know my channel, probably the last of late, especially, I don't really buy like I don't get too much into the the bullion gold that much. However, I will say that my thought is on this is that the bullion gold, in my opinion, would be the first things to sell off, basically. And this is a Swiss 1 gram gold bar as well. But yeah, so my point is that the way I look at it in my stack is that any bullion gold that I have, this would be the kind of stuff, especially these smaller grams, could be the things to initially sell off as needs arise, as there are emergencies, things like that. Then I don't want to I don't want to have to go to my collectible gold, and stuff. The collectible gold that rather, it'd be better to have more time to sell it, because you just never know the market and things like that sometimes. Although it's still gold, it's still going to sell, but you don't know what kind of premium you might get in the market, things like that. So in that case, I think it can be wise to at least have some, definitely have some gold bullion on hand. And then an update too on my gold in IRA. So I do my last transaction. I'm still waiting for my gold coins to come in the mail, and they're saying it should ship by early next week. But it's been almost a month now, because I started this on about January 9th, doing the paperwork and getting that over to them and all that. So it's almost been a month, and my rep is saying that the trust company is just they're backlogged with all the stuff from the end of year and all that. Maybe, I don't know, but a little concerning to me that it takes a month to or more, maybe more, who knows, to get my metals. And I think that's something we're going to see more and more along the way here, especially with gold, and that's what I'm waiting for, is gold coins. So on my last transaction, there was definitely several weeks delay, but I don't remember waiting a month or more for my metals, and it was there was some gold, but that was mostly silver. But so I find it interesting that it's taken that long, and then also I was going when I went to go get these metals. Well, I got the silver yesterday, but I went to go get some gold at another shop here locally today, and I went by the bank. So I go through the bank ATM thinking I'm going to save time rather than going to the drive-through at my local bank, and so I'm doing the normal process, and I go there, and then there's the withdrawal options were not options on the machine. Okay, they were just like grayed out. You couldn't even click on withdrawals, and so I had to back up and go back through the drive-through window. And once I did that, I was able to get cash with no problem. And I'm not talking crazy money. I got out like $600 and stuff. So I did put back some cash as well, a little bit of cash. But so but yeah, that's kind of alarming. And I think now maybe some could say, well, the ATM was just out of cash probably or something like that. Okay, maybe. But I think my opinion is we're going to see this, probably escalate all the way around with the banking system, the delays, systems down, cyber attacks, whatever you want to call it. As they try to move over to CBDCs, especially, and phase out the dollars. I think more and more, my opinion, I think we're going to see is going to get harder and harder to access cash in one way or another. Like more and more banks closing down, that kind of thing. Also, as far as now, I have a local credit union that I go through mostly, and I've got a separate bank that I can use as needed. But the, I would say this too: if you were a Bank of America, I would really probably rethink that relationship. So they are one of the leaders of this ESG, the environmental, social, and governance, WEF types. They're one of the leaders in that. Okay, and so in my opinion, now some could argue maybe that that could mean they're even more safe because they're backed by the globalists and stuff. But they're also pushing the ESG and all this other stuff. That also means they're basically in the forefront of the AI replacing workers, right? And they already have. I'm pretty sure Bank of America already had these little offices where you have to use your bank card to get in the building. You go in there and it's like chat with somebody. It's not a real person, but it's a real person behind the camera. But as far as locally, there's no one there, And so Bank of America is going to be probably one of the leading ones, and I'm sure right behind them will be the other big banks like the Chases and stuff. Okay, so in my opinion, I would not rely solely on something like a Bank of America or a big Chase or these large institutions like that. You might want to have at least your money moved around in a local bank, local state bank maybe, or a credit union. Things, and I find the credit unions pretty good in terms of usually you can get better rates on a local credit union level, things like that. You can get better deals, maybe even better, a little bit more interest, maybe in your checking or savings and things. So, but think about that, and again, some could say during a banking crisis or collapse, then the smaller banks are more likely to go away. And I'm not saying necessarily go down the street to this no-name bank. That they've got two customers. I'm not really saying that either. That could also be very dangerous, probably, because those will be the ones that fall away. But the credit union, like the one I have, is they're all over the state. They've got branches, multiple branches throughout my metro area, things like that. So just look for a good, solid bank, local, state-run bank, maybe. Or maybe if it is a city type of run bank, then just make sure they've got multiple branches. So if they start closing branches, you don't want to be stuck with they only have one little bitty branch there, and if that one shut down, you're screwed. You want to make sure you've got multiple options in banking. So, and then that also, there may be some value to think about having multiple accounts at different branches, or different types of different banks, totally, and stuff. So, but you know, once it gets bad enough, and once if we start having runs on the banks, it's probably going to be a domino effect, honestly. So, but then it's a matter of, it just depends on how fast it affects the different banks. So if you go to one of your banks and they're totally shut down, or they're not giving out cash or whatever, then maybe you might be lucky enough to run to the other, use your other debit card at the ATM, or run to the other bank real quick, and maybe you get in there and get some cash before they shut down, potentially. So there might just be another option, into this. Now the negative would be, you don't want to have really too much cash overall in the system in terms of savings. Right now, your savings really should be, cash, gold, and silver in your possession, and somewhat in that order. But yeah, that should be and sadly that has to be really your true savings, where it's basically, like, as they say, be your own bank, and that's really what the whole point is of, in my opinion, that's the whole point of stacking and investing in gold and silver, is to be your own bank, and hedge against the inflation of this economy and stuff. So, but yeah, keep that in mind. And then we also have had the China balloon thing going over the U.S., and some are saying there may be a second one or something. So, and we see that our government's pretty much gutless, and I don't know what that entails, but some have even speculated EMP, a possible EMP attack, that kind of thing, or maybe testing to that effect, even if the first round's not that. But if we let things like that just go unchecked, then how much harder is it to just bring in a EMP device attached to a satellite, and could really disrupt stuff. So, and we've already seen the localized power grids taken out by mysterious means. And so, do we know if that's insiders that have spies and stuff? Maybe it's Fang that's taken out power plants. What about all the food plants that have mysteriously caught on fire? That could be anything from our own military down to Fang, as far as I know. The chicken, they're killing off the food right now. Chicken and eggs especially are being under attack. So the more I look at this, there's a war going on. Okay, we don't want to admit it, and it's not something you're going to hear in the media other than Ukraine. But there's a war going on here. And we're too busy sending all of our money overseas, for a useless war. That's just, you might as well be draining, in my opinion, you may as well be flushing money down the drain. That, in Ukraine's, people know Ukraine's like one of the most corrupt countries in the world right now. I mean, it has been, and stuff. So, so we're going to throw money at a corrupt country. That makes a lot of sense. And nothing against the Ukrainian people. I mean, I pray for them, and hope they can make it out of this. They're in a bad spot. But we are also under attack here in America, that is the likes of which I think have probably seldom been seen. Yeah, it may not be a physical war yet, but there's war, and they're talking about cyber attacks. People are worried about EMPs, like I said, financial collapse, you name it. I mean, it's all kind of possibilities right now. And so that's the banking collapse. I mean, there's the border collapse basically. There's all kinds of crisis right now, all the way around, and that's usually where the globalists shine to go in and take power, take more control, and take more control of you, and they'll use hunger, starvation. They'll use obviously the money supply, which they've proven to use against us as citizens, to reverse back to more like a serfdom, more like a feudalism or neo-feudalism, where there's basically a large poor class. So, well, we can kind of stop it there, but just kind of wanted to really update y'all And so, make sure you're still preparing. And I'm going to try to get over to the gym this weekend as well. I need to start preparing physically better than I have been, honestly, and stuff too. And especially now that it may hopefully start warming up a little bit here in the coming weeks. Um, but so prepare physically, spiritually, financially. Try to prepare for you and your family. So God bless, and talk to y'all soon.